Now, speaking of tyranny and other news, the chief of police in Chicago is demonizing Second Amendment supporters. This is truly amazing. According to an article posted on WashingtonTimes.com, the chief of police, Gary McCarthy of Chicago, says, this is according to the Illinois State Rifle Association that's quoted in the article. He was conducting an interview, Gary F. McCarthy, the chief of police of Chicago, and he said that firearm owners who lobby their representatives or who donate money to political campaigns for Second Amendment issues are guilty of corruption and of endangering public safety. It's truly amazing. These gun grabbers continue. And that individual, McCarthy, he used to be the chief of police in Newark. He tried these little gun buyback programs, and they didn't work. They didn't work. So now he's spreading his cancerous ideology to the city of Chicago, and that cancerous ideology is spreading throughout the country. These gun grabbers don't start. Their argument was always, we're only going after the assault weapons. Remember that? And now they're really demonizing you. They're saying that if you donate money to political campaigns of staunch Second Amendment supporters, not of assault weapon supporters, staunch Second Amendment supporters, you're bad. It was Piers Morgan a couple of weeks ago who said his ultimate goal is for no Americans to have any guns. He wishes that no Americans could have any guns. Mayor Michael Bloomberg, when asked by Piers Morgan, do you think Americans have the right to bear arms? What did Mayor Michael Bloomberg say? Well, it doesn't matter what I think. The courts have ruled that Americans have the right to bear arms. Translation, of course I don't think these peasants should have arms. But the Supreme Court tells me I'm tyrannical. State Supreme Courts tell me I'm tyrannical, so I have no power in the matter. I have to abide by these laws. And for those that say, David, we're only after your assault weapons, we don't mind if you protect yourself in your home. It's important to note that in 13 U.S. states, you cannot conceal carry. There was actually legislation in New York State that was proposed so that homeowners could only have one bullet in their magazine. One bullet in their magazine. So their goal is to disarm the American people. That is their goal, but they're using the assault weapons argument to get that accomplished. Now, speaking of an attack on the Second Amendment, it seems that Washington State is also proposing a bill that will seek to criminalize gun ownership. That's why it's so important that we not only keep our eyes on what Dianne Frankenstein is doing, but that we keep on our eyes on our states, because we could celebrate a victory if the federal assault weapons ban doesn't pass. But, you know, don't jump for joy because your state might pass an assault weapons ban, or your county. You have to stay on these criminals. According to The New American, the article headline reads, Washington state senators seek to criminalize gun ownership. And Bill SB 5737 defines assault weapons as follows. Any semi-automatic pistol or semi-automatic or pump-action rifle or shotgun that is capable of accepting a detachable magazine with a capacity to accept more than 10 rounds of ammunition, and that also possesses any of the following. If the firearm is a rifle or shotgun, a pistol grip located rear or the trigger. If the firearm is a rifle or shotgun, a stock in any configuration, including but not limited to a thumbhole stock, a folding stock, or a telescoping stock that allows the bearer of the firearm to grasp the firearm with the trigger hand, such that the web of the trigger hand between the thumb and forefinger can be placed below the top of the external portion of the trigger during firing. If the firearm is a pistol, a shoulder stock of any type or configuration, including but not limited to a folding stock or a telescoping stock, it just goes on and on. And from what I understand, in recently, the state of Oregon is proposing a bill to make sure that police officers go into every homeowner's home annually, at least once a year, to make sure they don't have assault weapons. So the information, Olympia, Washington is the legislator proposing that. So we have to keep an eye on these individuals. They do want your guns. Their argument is assault weapons, but it's all incremental. And for those who don't forget, only about 1% of Americans, less than 1% of Americans, are victims of gunshots. And at least 60% of that 1%, less than 1%, has to do with suicides and the drug war. And a lot of people always watch InfoWars and say, what can I do? What can I do? I don't have access to my legislator. I don't have money. What can I do? Well, here you go. This Saturday, there's going to be a rally nationwide called National Day of Resistance. If you want more information, it's called dayofresistance.com. You can get some more information. I don't know about this organization, but I do know about this march. An estimated 50,000 people in more than 30 states have already agreed to hold marches. There's going to be about 100 local rallies with the resistance movement aimed at unifying patriotic Americans from across the political spectrum behind the U.S. Constitution and gun rights. So there you go, dayofresistance.com, and you can rally, I believe it's this Saturday, and let your legislators know you're not having it. We know this is all incremental, and you say it's assault weapons as if that wasn't horrible enough, but it's going to lead to smaller guns. And remember, the Second Amendment is not about hunting children. It's about it's a doomsday provision. If the government becomes tyrannical on the American people, we can defend ourselves. We always need to be one up on the military. And speaking of the military, on Infowars.com and how they're, arming to the teeth, there was an article posted that the headline reads, Feds buy 2 billion rounds of ammunition. And basically, it's upping what Alex and Paul Joseph Watson recently said. They said it was about 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition that was purchased by federal authorities. It's now up to 10 billion rounds of ammunition that's been posted, that's been purchased by federal authorities. And basically the article talks about how even neocons, staunch neocons like Michael Savage and Mark Levin, are siding with Alex. The federal government has said, their spokespeople, that this report is overblown, and the reason why they're getting so much ammunition is for training sessions. But, Alex has said he doesn't believe it, as Paul Joseph Watson doesn't believe it. And according to Mark Levin, the neocon, we don't agree with a lot of his political beliefs, but we do agree with his love of the Second Amendment. He says in the article, I'll tell you what I think they're simulating: the collapse of our financial system, the collapse of our society, and the potential for widespread violence, looting, killing in the streets, because that's what happens when an economy collapses. I suspect that just in case our fiscal situation, our monetary situation collapses, and following it, the civil society collapses, that is the rule of law. They want to be prepared. I know why the government's arming up. It's not because there's going to be an insurrection. It's because our society is unraveling. So Mark Levin, a big neocon, as well as Michael Savage, are defending this report, which Alex and Paul Joseph Watson posted, that our government is arming to the teeth, and we don't believe that it's just for training sessions. Now, in our final piece, it seems in good news, Rand Paul, senator out of Kentucky, is proposing legislation that will allow industrial hemp to be grown here in the United States, so that there could be a lot of hemp businesses. And also similar bills are being proposed right now in the state of Kentucky, as well as in the state of Washington. According to Senator Rand Paul, marijuana is made up of 20% THC, whereas industrial hemp plants contain less than 0.3%. And industrial hemp, it's the same botanical family as marijuana, but you can't get high on industrial hemp. There's a lot of industries that can be created, a lot of businesses that can be created if we allow industrial hemp to be grown here in the United States. We import it. Why in the world can't we grow it? And there's, right now we're importing it. That stuff can be grown here in the United States, create a lot of jobs. And some of the things that can be created as a result of hemp is paper, cosmetic, lotions, auto parts, clothes, cattle feed, and so much more. There's actually a business, the senator says, called Magic Soaps in California, and they gross about $50 million annually, and they're importing all of their hemp. It's truly a shame, because those jobs could be created here in the United States. So we hope that bill passes. We're now going to go to our daily quote, and it's from none other than Albert Einstein, a man who knew a thing or two. And this is what he said: learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow, The important thing is not to stop questioning. Again, learn from yesterday, live for today, hope for tomorrow. The important thing is not to stop questioning.
ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your ProPure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.